try that hard. I ain't gonna show that card. People start to wonder if you live here now. And the boys in the corner are trying to figure you out. I don't wanna play that game.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the On Deck podcast by Prospects Live. We are your hosts, your friends, and we'll start with me, your host, your friend, but also your boy, Drew Wheeler. Happy to be here with you for episode 15 of On Deck. Wow, 15 episodes. Feels like just yesterday I was on a whole other computer recording these silly thoughts with my boys. With me, as always, is the youngest man in the game. He is the handsomest man in the game. He is the man with the P-Live hat. It is Nathan. Call him Nate. Rasmussen. Nate, hi.
The man with the hat, I feel like, is a good description of me. Never hatless.
Yeah. Never hatless Nate Rasmussen. That's such a good nickname.
If someone catches me in the wild without a hat on, they can punch me or something like that. You know, one of those deals.
Streets of Seattle, catch him, punch him, no hat. This feels like good rules.
You got a baseball there, Drew. I just random question. I don't know why I'm going into this right now. How are you gripping the ball when are you like throwing sliders and stuff over there?
No,
or what are you?
Most often I go to the old circle change.
That's what I do too.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's how it rests. I don't know where my ball is for the first time ever. But that's okay.
Greg, if you have a ball in your hand, what are you doing with it? Hold on, don't know because we gotta. Okay, slow down.
Track.
You're not Rhys White. We know for a fact that Rhys White is currently off in the wilderness on a quest to find himself or some nonsense, just out in the wilderness for 3 years. What we have done is we have taken all the best parts of Rhys and replaced him in the aggregate, a la the 2002 Moneyball A's. With us tonight, the director of Dynasty content at Prospects Live. Amazing title, by the way. It is your friend and mine, hailing from the Great White North, Gregory. Call him Greg. Hoogkamp. Greg, my brother. Hi.
Hey, Drew. Hey, Nate. Great to be here. I love this podcast, and it's awesome to be on it.
It's a treat to have you here. And so, Greg, now that we've introduced you and we're not just throwing you in like some common schmo, when you've got the ball in your hand, what's the grip? What are you doing here?
Yeah, I think circle change is kind of the go-to because it's the pitch you have to get the feel for, like it's a feel pitch, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I go through all my pitch progressions with my baseball, but yeah, circle change is definitely the go-to.
I think have I talked about this ball on the podcast, Nate?
Is that the grip ball?
This is the grip ball. So I found this at Marshall's around Christmas time for like $6. And I told Mallory, I was like, $6 baseball with the grips on it? Like, this is great. I'll keep this for if we have kids or if I'm just, fooling around. I just wanted to buy myself something to fool with in Marshall's. And so this has become the stress relief toy of choice here while recording. Two-seam fastball. Anyway. So, tonight's episode, we've got a good one. We have got all of your favorite things, including the P-Live news. How's that going to work? You're going to have to hold on and see, because Rhys, we said he was out in the wilderness. Maybe he's in jail. Maybe this is part of the thing with court. Maybe something went wrong with his crime spree. Who knows? We're talking what's on your mind, of course, because wouldn't be on deck without it. Greg has just finished an incredible project update that we're going to be talking about, and I'm hyped because it's one of my favorite tools on the site and one of my favorite lists that Greg kind of goes ham and cheese on. And Nate, we're also going to talk about some top prospects in the MLB. It's going to be a fun show.
It's going to be great. And maybe Rhys's parole officer is not going to be very happy that he's not here. So that's actually something we have to take into account here.
Hadn't considered that. Okay, so while we're on the phone with Rhys's parole officer, we are going to throw it to the drop teams super quickly, let some music marinate, and maybe calm us down, because we don't know how this is going to go. We're getting a little bit tense, but when we come back, we're going to have some excellent content for you, so sit right there. We're coming back with On Deck.
I used to be brash, I used to be bold, lived off rhythm and road. I burned to...
Yes. No. Really? Oh. Yes, we'll tell him. Oh, we'll let them all know. Okay, bye. Whew. Well, Rhys's parole officer says that he is in major trouble for not being here, so don't know how that's going to affect the rest of the show. But anyhow, what we've got for you now, Greg, you have just finished working on one of my favorite tools, something that you decided to bring to the site, and you have really spearheaded it, pretty much flying solo, buddy. It is the Open Universe list. Nate, I saw you tweeting about it earlier today as well. It's a really cool tool, essentially, that if you're playing in a league that offers open universe spots, it gives a ranking or some sort of ideal of maybe guys to consider and what guys you need to prioritize. So, Greg, the floor is yours. If you want to talk about your process, maybe your dichotomy with ranking, or anything about the list before we go into more specifics.
So yeah, thanks. This project has been a labor of love. It's not an easy list to put together because it's not just like prospects. It's veterans, it's rookies, it's 16-year-olds, it's 35-year-olds. The first ever fantasy league I joined had an open universe concept, so this is kind of where it came from. I probably started this league before Nate was born, which is telling me how old I am. That's how I was introduced to Dynasty Baseball, was with an open universe concept. So I've always loved it. It's very near and dear to my heart. And I really enjoy, much like I enjoy digging into prospects, I enjoy digging into the open universe guys and finding that next gem. And I think a lot of the other people enjoy that as well. So that's sort of where this comes from. The process, I don't know if I have much of an organized process. I just kind of go through, I mean, these are mostly college players, but we've got some international free agents. We've got some NPB, KBO guys in there as well. Just any players I think will have relevance in the major leagues at some point in the next 10 years, basically, is sort of what I look at. This particular update, this is the second update I've done this season, was a little bit challenging at the top specifically. There's really no clear number one open universe player right now in my mind. Whereas with the last two lists, there was for me. So on the first edition of this, Munetaka Murakami was definitely the number one open universe player. But he's had a really rough season, so he's kind of fallen down the list a little bit. In the second iteration, Shunpita Yamashita, who is the number one pitcher in Japan, I still have him ranked as the number one pitcher in Japan. He was number one on that update, but I have a couple of guys that have passed him by just based on their college results this year. And there's been a lot of shifting and movement, and I've learned about a lot of players that I didn't know about based on what they did this year in the NCAA. And some of the high school players as well have sort of jumped onto the list. So the list is up to over 150 players now. So it's pretty deep. Not many open universe leagues are that deep, but I wanted to provide something where everybody could take a look and see a player that they liked. So
I love it. First of all, I love it. Nate, please go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I think the fact that, so I've never played an open universe league, right? So I guess I'm not looking at this in a league perspective. I'm just looking at it of like, list creation is hard as is. This has got to be the hardest list to create ever because you're comparing prep guys. Like, I don't know what the youngest guy you have on this list is, 16 probably. I see a couple 16-year-olds on here.
16?
And then you've got, guys, much older international players. How do you create a list like this and compare those guys against each other?
I mean, it's almost impossible to compare apples to apples in that situation. Obviously, proximity to the major leagues plays a role in this. So if you know a guy in the NPB is going to get posted this offseason, so we had Roki last year, we pretty much knew he was coming. We've had several other NPB players come over like that, or KBO even. That proximity and those guys being professional baseball players for how many years they've done that. It takes 6 years to get posted in those Asian leagues. So these guys are seasoned veterans. Those guys the best of those guys kind of hit the top of the list. The hits come a little bit better with the NCAA guys, I would say, as well. Because those guys are, guys get drafted to the minor leagues and they're in the minor leagues for a year, 2 years, 3 years, the best of them. And they kind of hit the second tier there. And then the IFAs, the guys that are signed in January that are 16 years old, the high school bats, high school arms. Those guys there's so much variance in those players because they're so far away. So I kind of look at it that way with proximity, but talent and upside is really how I value the players on this list. So if I see a high ceiling on a guy and they're performing, they're going to be near the top of the list. So the ceiling is really the biggest thing for me.
I just love that there's a list that has Jack Omen on it at 151, even though like it's so like the Yale freshman start, like it's just the coolest thing in my mind. And I don't want to give away a bunch of.
That's awesome.
It's so cool, right? Like what other list has all these people? I don't know. It just fires me up. It fires me up. And the coolest part about this is that there's people who I don't know on here, right? I don't follow international baseball like that. What's kind of your process in identifying the international baseball stats? I wrote an article on Roki early in the season trying to find, any information on him was decently hard on the internet. So kind of how did you manage that?
Obviously looking at stats, you can do that pretty easily. But I've got a couple of go-to follows on X. Yuri from Yakyu Cosmopolitan is unbelievable. He lives in Japan. And he's right on the ground and reporting every single day on MLB baseball. I talked to him about this list and he gave me some amazing advice. So he really helped me kind of rank the MLB players on here. And Sean Spradling is one of the best at international baseball. So he does the MLB, but he does everything else too. So kind of following those guys on X and listening to them. And I have a passion for international baseball. I don't know where it came from. I like international soccer. I follow that, and anything international, I enjoy. The Olympics, I like that too. WBC, that's one of my favorite things. So that kind of plays into this a little bit too. But following people on X that post about it daily, that's important.
Greg, one thing I wanted to ask you. You mentioned just a minute ago that this list was kind of curated from a variety of sources that you've gotten to. I think what you told me is that you've enjoyed kind of diving more headfirst into college ball this year. Just getting to know guys and getting to know kind of the scope of the game as your fandom for it kind of increases. Personally, I love it. I love that because it's just another thing I can talk to one of my best friends about. But I have an interesting question. A little bit of a this or that, if you're down for it.
Go ahead.
Of the top two, who do you think will have the better career, Rock Chlowski or Iva Arquette? Because I feel, and I think I might have told you this whenever you sent me the list and you're like, just give it a one over, any thoughts you have. I think I won't say it until after you've said, but I had very exact thoughts about the 1 and 2.
It's tough. They're both excellent bats. I think maybe just the upside might be a touch higher for Rock at this point, but it's hard to say. I haven't watched enough of him to see any flaws in there. That's the thing with him. He's played 1 year, right? Like he's had one amazing year, and that's pretty much all we've seen of him. So we haven't seen what pitchers have done to kind of attack his weaknesses and stuff like that. So I think that's one thing. Like Iva Arquette has been around a couple seasons, so or 3 seasons now, I guess. He's getting drafted this year. So we've seen him a little bit more, and he's played some of that top competition. So we've seen some of his weaknesses. So I think Rock, but we haven't seen enough of him yet to kind of compare those two together.
That's fair. Nate, do you have any strong opinions one way or the other on that?
No, I think that was actually really well put from Greg. I do think it's closer than people might initially think. Just because Rock was, the sensation this year doesn't mean that the next year, we see a lot of guys, get pitched around and teams have to do their research on Rock next year. So it'll be interesting. I do think that the floor of Rock seems higher than Iva's, but we'll see, obviously. I do think that there's a really good chance, though, like the next update of this list, it's still Rock Chlowski, or maybe 2 updates from now. Like, I do think he's got a really good chance, better than a lot of these other guys, to maybe stay atop this list for a year.
I agree. I think and without going off into a different conversation, I think I may be the lowest on Iva Arquette of anybody that I've seen thus far. But Rock, I have pretty cemented far and above. there are several guys under Arquette I think I'd rather have. But again, that's just a Drew thing, not criticizing the list or Greg, because Greg's absolutely right. We've seen a lot of Arquette, and he's incredibly solid. We'll see what he does, and obviously, with pro development, that could even improve. But looking further down the list, just looking into the future, Greg, I think guys like, like you said, Shumpita Yamashita, you're looking at guys like Drew Burris, AJ Gracia, Justin LeBron, the guys that are going to be the big picks and the hype guys for next year's draft, guys like Grady Emerson, a little further out. Even a guy like Dax Whitney, I think, is going to be a dark horse top 10 guy for this upcoming season. Once some of these guys go off the list. And Nate, I know that in our on deck host chat, we were going nuts for Dax Whitney during the Super Regionals. So, Greg, I feel like me and you might have even talked about Dax Whitney kind of going off as well. So, an amazing list. Very, very cool stuff. Curious, Greg, how often do you update the list?
Maybe once every 6 weeks or so during the season. Sure. Obviously, a lot of these guys are going to come off the list once they're drafted, so that'll kind of refresh it going into the fall. Then I'll do one big spring update again. So it's not every month, but maybe every couple months.
I think that's all that's really necessary for a list kind of like this that's very specialty oriented. But I did have one other note that I just wanted to point out for all of you at home. There is one player with a risk ranking of low. It is Henry Ford, who just committed where, Nate? Where's he going to play if he doesn't get drafted? Where was that?
Committed to the MLB draft? I don't know.
No, it wasn't MLB draft. He committed somewhere if he wasn't drafted. Where could that be?
Arkansas?
No, it wasn't Arkansas. It was a better school than that. Where was it?
Middle Tennessee.
No, a little further east. Anyway,
Vanderbilt?
Nope, that's the same. That's Middle Tennessee as well.
I don't know my directions in Tennessee, sorry.
That's okay. I'll teach you. Greg, amazing list. Is there any other tips or tricks you may have for people who are in these kinds of leagues, in an open universe? What's maybe the best practice for using the list better?
I would, unless you have a lot of spots to fill, I would hold off on the really high variance guys. So like unless it's absolutely like a Vlad Guerrero Jr. type guy that is going to be a good player down the road, I would stick with the college guys and with the NPB guys that are being posted in the next couple of seasons. Again, I don't know of too many leagues that have like 10, 15 roster spots for players like this, because you're often filling in your league with minor leaguers that are already signed with major league organizations. So these are the guys you kind of sprinkle in. So I did talk about upside, but you don't want to be. I made a lot of mistakes in the past in the league that I talked about, picking 15-year-old players that I knew nothing about, but they were going to get the high signing bonus. Then they turned out to be nothing. I did hit on a couple. I got Vlad and I got Wander Franco, who's no longer a thing anymore, but you're going to miss on more than you hit when you're digging that deep. So you just got to be smart. Be smart about it.
One final question before I pass it to Nate. Greg, in your league currently, who are in your open universe spots?
I've been mostly doing. I actually think I have only guys that are signed, but let me take a look.
Sure.
Because
the guy that makes the list doesn't even use it?
Henry Ford.
So I think what's happened in this league that I'm talking about is a lot of teams have gone the other way, and I've kind of reversed course a little bit, and I think there's a gap in talent in that minor league system. So I've been trying to pick off the guys that are signed. So
okay.
But last year I did draft some college guys, and Condon, Burns were guys that I picked. So
very nice.
I have used it to my advantage.
Sounds like it. Well, guys, what an amazing tool. Another one of the fabulous offerings you can get at Prospects Live. Memberships start at $5 a month, and you can get all of Greg's wisdom and insight on the Open Universe list, plus on all of our other lists, as low as $5 a month. But before we get on with the rest of the show, Nate, tell them who we're going to hear in our ears really quick.
I believe that would be the Drop Teens.
It's going to be great. I'm ready to listen. You stay right there.
And we're back from that lovely musical break, and we are talking straight ball now. And we're going to talk about some of the top prospects. I feel like we don't talk top prospects as much as maybe we should for being a prospect-driven podcast. We get in the weeds a lot. And so we're going to talk about, some top prospects that have debuted in the MLB this year. We're going to check in on them and see kind of where we're at on them as prospects currently, if we're, up or down on some of these guys. And there's no better place to start than Roman Anthony, the number one prospect in baseball, until he does graduate here in a little bit. So, Drew, I'm going to go straight to you here. Roman Anthony.
Thank you.
Let's do a quick check-in on Roman Anthony. He's been doing pretty well. The results don't necessarily match how well he's been doing, but where are you at on Roman Anthony?
I think it's a firm sell. I think he's absolute trash, and it's about time that we've come. He's awesome. Roman Anthony is dope. I tell the story all the time. Greg and I sat next to each other in a ballpark and watched Roman Anthony crank balls out of a major league park. I was sold. And true to form, kid's currently running a near 94 average exit velocity. He's barreling the ball 15% of the time, 50% hard hit rate. He's squaring up the ball decently. He's not really chasing. He's not really. He's taking his walks, striking out a decent bit. But we always knew that was going to be the case, didn't we, Nate? We knew that he had some aggression to him. We knew there was going to be some swingy, missy. I think that what
Swingy,
we're seeing
missy.
out of it, yeah, we're going to see some swingy, missy. What do you call it?
Nothing. I just had to.
What do you call it?
I shouldn't have interrupted. I'm sorry.
Greg, what do you call it?
Swingy Missy, of course.
I thought so. Okay. Anyway, sorry, Nate. Anyway, no, Anthony's doing everything we wanted him to do. I'm hyped that he's still with the club. Like we were real. I was freaked out. And I think I might have conveyed this to you guys. I was really freaked out they were going to send him back down and play this stupid up, down marionette gimmick with him. But he's here and he's killing it. So if you held on to him, thumbs up to you, kiddo. Well done.
Yeah. Greg, where are you at on Roman Anthony?
I mean, this is why you don't look at surface stats. This is why you look at the underlying numbers, because he is tearing the cover off the ball right now. It says he's hitting 193, but he's not hitting 193. He is hitting 50% of his balls hard hit, 15% barrel rate. I mean, it's amazing. Ideal angles. He's about to go on a tear. I'm convinced. He had 2 more hits tonight. This is a very special player. He's 21 years old, guys. 21.
That's younger than me.
Who does this? Who does this at 21? This is a special talent, and he's performing in his first 68 plate appearances. Like it's going to be real special. And he's doing it right away.
Yeah, I think last week Drew called me the youngest man in the world, and I'm probably a year or 2 older than Roman Anthony. So
I think I did call you the youngest man in the world.
I'm
What a dumb
honestly
thing to say.
I'm very happy with the strikeout rate. I was a little bit worried that the strikeouts would be a problem, but he really got off on like a perfectly fine foot. Big league pitching has not overwhelmed him at all. And I kind of like this because I know we're all on Savant right now, which we don't normally get to do when talking about these prospects. And we can kind of see these more tangible numbers, and it's pretty much all red. Yeah, like
It's
like
a
Greg
nice looking
said,
page.
It's a very good page. Like Greg said, like this is for the people out there who like surface level statistics. Like Roman Anthony has been absolutely fantastic. I love that the walk rate translated. He hit his 1 home run against the Mariners. I was watching it live, and I was like, that was super impressive. I think he took an outside, up and out fastball, like dead center. It was super impressive. Just brute strength, He's been really good in the outfield too so far. It's just such a complete ball player, and I almost wonder if we underrated him somehow. Not that you can't underrate a guy who's number one, but is it just me that came into the season always hearing like, oh, like the upper echelon of prospects is like just a little bit down this year, and it feels like this guy is just not. He's no worse than all these other number one prospects that have been coming through.
Nate, may I soapbox really quickly?
Please.
I'm going to make sure everybody can hear me at home. Every year, there's the same nonsense. This top class of prospects is really down. It's just not as good. This draft is so much worse compared to the last one. Blah, blah, blah. No, it's not. The players are just as good. The draft class is just as good. The top prospects are just as good. Cry about it. Like, if you disagree, come on the show and tell me I'm wrong. I'm not. I'll go ahead and tell you in advance. I'm not wrong. This is just a narrative people say because you get so used to it's. We got so used to talking about Roman. We're getting so used to talking about Samuel Basayo. We're getting so used to talking about Bubba and Andrew Painter and all these guys that when they're gone and you have to bring those new guys up that are just as talented, you have that newness to it. And you're like, wow, I'm not as used to talking about this guy. And I don't think that he's as good. He is as good or he wouldn't be where he is. Wake up. Anyway, yes, Nate, I got so sick of that discourse of people being like, I don't know, maybe we're underrating Roman Anthony. If you're underrating him, then why did you rank him number one?
There's one stat where he is struggling, and that's the pull air percentage. He's at 7%. And I think once that turns around, it's a small sample, obviously, but once that turns around, watch out. Watch out.
That's where these
Pull air
average
percentage?
EVs get even higher somehow. And you're like, that's when you see the 100th percentile bubble start popping up for a guy like this instead of the 90th percentile ones. That's a great point, Greg. And I'm almost going to sidetrack us here, but I love getting these outside opinions or whatnot. Me, Drew, and Rhys kind of talk about these things a lot, but it's nice hearing from other people. Greg, I want your take on, so as Anthony graduates, I would say there are 7 or 8 options for the number one prospect in baseball. How do you think that is going to make us as a community look at the highest level of prospects in baseball? Do you think that's going to make us underrate prospects in general or maybe overrate them? I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on how this new era of the number one prospect in baseball could be so many different guys is going to affect how people talk about it.
I think if you look at it just like kind of generally, it kind of makes you think like, oh, there's not that top tier, right? But the group that we're looking at here, I think they are that top tier. Like, I think they are that good. These are special athletes. And like, generally speaking, as we're going, if we go back 20 years and look at the top prospect and compare them to the athleticism, the strength, everything right now, we're worlds ahead of where we were with nutrition, training, strength training, all that stuff. Like, we're so far ahead of where we were even like 2 decades ago. And we're only going to keep going that way as we learn more about how to properly take care of your body and how to train properly and become a better hitter and hit the ball harder. I mean, people always want to hit the ball harder, right? So I think maybe in a bubble, you would think, okay, maybe we don't have that top tier, but because there's so many guys that could be. But look at these players. Like these guys are elite athletes. They can put the bat on the ball. They all have power. They all have speed. These are all around players. I think we're headed for a really awesome time because they're so young. They're so young. Drew's got his hand up.
Yes, didn't want to interrupt. To add on to what Mr. Hoogkamp is saying here, another thing, Greg, that's progressed that's going to make everything you're saying even more true is think about what else has evolved in the last 20 years. Scouting. The way that we look at players and learn about players is improving by every single day. So not only are we getting more advanced metrics and more insight about what makes a player good or bad or what they need to work on or what they do extremely well or maybe what they're doing substandard or suboptimally, we're also learning to see it better with our eyes. So we're seeing who is the most complete package by day by day by day. However, I just want to throw this out there, Nate, and I know that it kind of goes without saying with everything I do. The subjectivity factor is what makes everything with baseball scouting and fantasy baseball. It's what makes it fun. If we all had the same opinions, then this wouldn't be fun. So I think that this era of kind of who's the number one prospect, I'm almost looking forward to it more than I have since I got into doing writing about baseball, just because anybody can have an opinion. And so long as it's articulated well and backed up with solidified fact, I'm willing to hear you out.
I could not agree more. I am thinking of it as maybe there are just 7 number one prospects, like maybe that's just where we're at. And maybe they have to fall 1 through 7 or whatnot, but maybe there's just more of them than just one.
Well, then the other thing too is you got to play the game still.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys have to go through the reps. They got to face the best pitchers in the league if they're hitters, or face the best hitters in the league if they're pitchers. You got to play the game, and who can stand up to that? Who can reach that top level? Who's the best of the best? And that's when you really find out.
And it's going to be 6 years, 7 years until we actually might even begin to have an answer on something like that, right? So this is great. I'm going to move us on to our next guy that we're going to talk about, and that is none other than Jack Caglione here. And he's been marked by struggle so far in his pro career. And Drew, I'm going to go straight to you regarding what was our prediction on what Cags was going to do when he started, and how has that held up?
Sir, I believe, I don't remember what our prediction as a group was. Excuse me, I speak English. But I do recall that we all had similar kind of outlines, if I'm not mistaken, for him.
Yeah.
I think we all projected that the key thing that was going to stay the same is that Jack was going to swing a bat very quickly. He was going to hit the ball very hard, but he was going to chase a lot. And again, it's as clear as day we're looking at Savant right now. We may as well have it on the screen for you guys on YouTube. But I mean, that's exactly what we're seeing. That's exactly what we're seeing, guys. Cags is just missing his spots. I mean, looking at it again here, he's squaring up the ball 21% of the time, getting in that launch angle sweet spot even worse, only 26% of the time. Plus, you have the chase, the whiff, the inability to take a walk. It's a lot of the same things we were seeing with Cags at Florida and even earlier this season. But Nate, we said it all along. There's no reason that he should be demolishing minor league hitters when this is what he's going to have to learn how to do in order to reach his full potential. So, yeah, we're not seeing... Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, well, we just always sort of described it as, yes, it's not going to be good for a little while. Mm-hmm. But that's the only way it's going to get good later. This is a 2-month, 3-month... This could be a 2-year guy for all we know. It's going to be a slower burn than the Roman Anthonys of the world based on his skill set. So, Greg, I want to pitch this over to you now. Jack Cags, where are you at on him right now?
I agree with everything you guys said. I think that's the profile he is and always has been. He has made strides to become better. I mean, it's still a 37% chase. Like, that's still a very high number, way above average. But I think even with an above average chase, he's still can be a very special player because of this is 80 power. I think we all agree this is 80 power. He can hit a ball out of any ballpark, out of any field, off any pitch, really. And I think his numbers do look very ugly right now. He's hitting 163. But I also think that he's underperformed a little bit as well, maybe not as much as Roman Anthony. But all his X stats are much higher. His BABIP is extremely low. It's 190 right now. I mean, he in the minors this year, he's got a 343 BABIP. So I think there's going to be a regression happening, and he can get back into the 200s at least. But I think like you said, Nate, it's going to take a little time for him to get adjusted and figure out what these pitchers are doing to him and learn and maybe not chase quite as much, not get quite as aggressive. But that's always been his game. That's how he's been successful. So it's hard to make that change. We always talk about like, well, all this guy has to do is lift and pull the ball. Well, if you've been swinging a certain way your entire life, that is a very difficult change to make, especially in season. Like, that's something you do in the off season. So for us to say from our seat here, oh, why doesn't he just do this? Well, it's not that easy. So it's going to take a while. I agree, Nate, totally. It's going to take a while, but I think there's a very good player in here. And yeah, he might hit 250, but he might also hit 40 bumps. So I think that's what we're looking at here.
Let me pitch this question to you really quickly, Greg, because you got to watch Cags with Florida. You got a live look at him in Fayetteville, if I'm not mistaken. If what we get long-term out of Cags is Chris Carter, average that could be anywhere from 150 to 250 and something in the realm of 15 to 40 home runs, is that a failed prospect?
I would say it's disappointing. I mean, Chris Carter led the league in home runs one year. I think he hit 40 plus one year, which
41,
which Cags I think could. I would think you would hope if you're the Royals that you'd get a longer career than him, because Chris Carter kind of flamed out and he was done.
He did. My initial comp was Adam Dunn, but I'd have to see some more batting average gain for him to get there. But I think that would be an exquisite outcome for Cags.
Yeah, I don't think it's not quite the same with Dunn, because Dunn was a walk machine. He was a 3 true outcome guy all the way, and Cags isn't quite that way because he just chases way more. He doesn't get to 3 ball counts very often. So
that's true. Very aggressive.
I don't think you'll ever see that from him. But uh, yeah, I just think there's a lot of variance here for sure. But if you set your target a little bit lower and it's a 250 average, maybe 240 average, but you're getting 30 plus home runs, I think you're happy with that. I think that's something that you can take.
Absolutely. My kind of thing on Kags here is he is one of the easier guys to game plan against without having the full book out on him. Because guess what? When your one true flaw is you chase, it's pretty easy for pitchers to know how to pitch you without doing a bunch of research or having these MLB numbers on you, because everyone knew he was going to chase when he came up. So pitchers can attack his weakness pretty easy, right? Which is why I thought he would be exposed early on, because it wasn't like he was going to stop chasing when he saw better pitching. It's just always going to be this, the book was out on him, and he's figuring it out, man. And if you're a strikeout rate believer, the strikeout rate's only 22%. It could be a little bit worse. It definitely could be better, with the chase numbers and such, but it's not all bad. And he's playing right field too. That's not a place where I imagine he's fully comfortable in yet. I think it's an uncomfortable situation, and I think second half Kags could very easily be a league average hitter with a little bit above average power and some below average contact stuff. And I think by the playoffs, if you have a guy who, is a home run threat every at bat, which he likely will be in 3 months, I think you're completely happy with that as a first year outcome for a guy like Kags.
Well said.
I'm going to move on to our next prospect, unless you guys have anything else on Jack. All right, so we're going to go into Marcelo Meyer now. Drew, I'm going to kick it straight to you. Been one of the more impressive rookies thus far, but I want to hear your thoughts on him.
Yeah, I think that, again, kind of the recurring thread here with all of these guys is just to take this with a grain of salt. Consider Marcelo Meyer, as well as Roman Anthony, as well as Jack Caglione, are facing major league pitching for the first time in their lives, all as very young men. As I said just a moment ago, these guys are younger than me, so keep that in mind at home. That's supposed to be a joke, because I'm
laughing.
Not particularly, I'm not like, oh, whatever. Anyway, the thing with Meyer, of course, is I think that he is performing about as well as I expected him to. I'd love to see the power in the majors come out. 4 home runs thus far. I love seeing that. The average exit velocity is up. He's hitting the ball nice and hard. His bat speed is looking about like what we expected it to. That was the thing with Meyer that always really impressed me, guys. Could really get those wrists through the zone. Nice, quick swing.
I'm going to actually pitch this to Greg, but Drew, I think that this is going to, for lack of a better word, excite you. 221 ISO, 57% ground ball rate. Greg, what do you got there? Those two numbers. Drew looks excited.
Yeah, that speaks to more coming, right?
I would think so.
He's got a 61% hard hit rate right now in his 89 plate appearances. So he's hitting the ball very hard. He's got excellent bat speed, 74.4 miles an hour. So there's a lot of good stuff here. Meyer has never been one of the most exciting prospects. He's always been highly ranked. To me, he's one of those guys that could possibly be a better baseball player than fantasy player. He's not going to hit 30 home runs probably. He's not going to steal 30 bases. He may be a decent hitter, get you 20 and 20 maybe tops. Which is good. But he's not going to be that. He was a number 1 overall pick. So when you get that, you're expecting the best of the best, right? That's always going to be on him. But yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing early on. Again, it's a 220 average. It's not super exciting right now, but the way he's hitting the ball, again, you got to look at the underlying metrics here, because he's almost a 10% barrel rate, 60% hard hit rate. So there's definitely a lot under the hood there.
Absolutely. I just see that high of a ground ball rate. He's just hitting the ball really hard in the ground. And I think that's a not a crazy adjustment. I think that's also an adjustment that guys can somewhat make in season. Then by next year, I think they get that kind of launch angle figured out. And I think we could see even another level to him. But I do think it's a little easier to go from hitting the ball on the ground to hitting the ball in the air than going from ground to air. So I don't hate where he's at because he's shown you can hit the ball really hard. It's just not the greatest, technical quality of contact, if you will. But I like what I'm seeing because at least he's giving himself a chance. That's what I tell my 16-year-olds. Put the ball on the ground, give yourself a chance. So I don't I don't have a whole lot more on my he is not the sexiest prospect. You're right, Greg. And maybe this next guy is even a little bit sexier, for lack of a better word. Christian Moore. And Drew, I'm going to go straight to you here because you are a Christian Moore guy.
That I am, Nate. That I am.
I wonder why.
I think it's just our shared love of backgammon. So, love Christian Moore, obviously. Big fan of him. I think I've said it probably 10 million times. You may like Christian Moore, but chances are I like him more than you do. That's a pun because his name is Moore. The cool thing with Christian Moore is that we're not seeing at all what he can do. And I think that this is kind of it's a proponent of the Angels rushing Christian Moore, which I think every single person in creation could have said, well, we'll see you next week, Christian, after he was drafted last year. We'll see you in the show next week. But at the same time, jokes aside, I do think that we are seeing him kind of learn on the job, I guess. And now, again, what I just said a minute ago about Marcelo Meyer, the same holds true here. Moore is learning on the job just like the rest of them. But by the same token, what we just said a moment ago about Marcelo Meyer, Christian Moore currently with an isolated power metric of 220 and a ground ball metric, looking for that. Okay, the page just refreshed. That's fabulous.
I got you right here.
44%.
Yep.
I think we're seeing something pretty simmy here with Christian Moore and Marcelo Meyer. Now, I said it off. I think I said it off the air. Did I say it off the air when we were comparing Ivar Arquette to Christian Moore? I think it was off the air. Anyway,
That was off the air.
Off the air. Moore has a more exciting profile than Meyer. Meyer and Arquette is a more similar kind of gamut there, but Moore is going to be more flashy and certainly more exciting for a fantasy player because he's going to do the things that score points in fantasy. Whereas a guy like Marcelo Meyer, the stability and the relative similarity of his year-to-year and even week-to-week, month-to-month numbers are probably going to be a lot more palatable than Moore's could be. And in saying that, I think that Moore could be both a mercurial and a very electrifying player. And I dare say in the vein... Now, temper your expectations. Imagine like a Jazz Chisholm-ish guy. Take a step down. I think Moore could settle in that kind of, wow, he's good when he's on kind of player.
I actually don't hate that comp at all. I wasn't sure where you were going with that. I don't mind it. Greg, where are you at on Mr. Moore?
This is a power bat. I mean, and at second base, that's exciting. That's what makes me excited about him. I just think there's a lot of swing and miss here, and that's the one thing that gives me a little bit of pause here. He's going to be one of those guys that gets super hot and goes on a run where he'll carry your team for weeks at a time, and then there will be times when he will disappear and he'll have to bat down in the lineup and you won't want him at the plate. So I think he's just going to be a streaky guy, good and bad. But there's a lot of excitement there because he's athletic and he can hit the ball a mile. And yeah, and he's in the major leagues and he's there to stay, I think. I don't think they're sending him down. So yeah, he's kind of that type of a prospect for me.
My comp when thinking about Moore was almost like prime Jorge Polanco, who was one of the streakiest guys, if I understand that correctly. He had a 30 home run season in there and a couple 20 home run seasons. And we even saw it this year, how he was the hottest hitter the first month of the season. And then since he's very much so cooled off. So I'm kind of workshopping that one in my head right now. So story time.
I like it.
Me and Will Thompson went to a AAA game together. And we got live looks at Christian Moore a couple days before he got called up. We then wrote an article about Christian Moore. No, we held hands, actually.
Okay. That makes sense. That's fine. That's fine.
We both are not Christian Moore guys. And I think Drew already knew this. Neither of us were Christian Moore guys. Watching it in person, I thought that there was just so much whiff, so much like zone whiff stuff that you're just like, yikes, how does this work as like long term? How can you have a high ceiling if you miss that much in the zone and if there are clear like holes to your game, essentially? With that being said, I think from a fantasy perspective, Christian Moore is a much better player than this real life kind of lens I was trying to look at him through. I thought the defense was really bad in person. It's actually been grading out okay in the MLB so far. I thought it was super lazy in AAA, and there's just a lot of holes, a lot of whiff in the swing. But he can hit 20 home runs. And what remind me of Blessing's Law? Is it 25 home runs, Drew?
Blessing's Law states that a second baseman at the major league level must hit 25 home runs or steal 25 bases to be valuable for fantasy.
I think
or to be valuable in any regard, I suppose, because Blessing's not really a fantasy guy.
He can hit. He'll have a couple 25 home run seasons, right? Because he'll get the play time, especially with the Angels. Like he's going to play 600, play. I think you guys get my point. I'm lower on him than most. And I'm not that worried. I don't think I'm going to be too wrong. This is like one of my weirdly confident moments, just because the whiff is pretty ridiculous right now.
Let's turn this around then. By your own token, the comp that you're playing with is Jorge Polanco. If Christian Moore is just Jorge Polanco, that's a very successful prospect, though.
Yeah, I think that's an over 50th percentile comp for him. If I was.
Well, okay. So if Jazz Chisholm is going to be the 99th percentile.
I think Chisholm's like 92, and then Polanco's like 80 or 75.
Okay.
I don't know. We're in the weeds here.
But if that's the top level outcomes, I think that's a quality major leaguer.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Jorge Polanco will never be without a job till he's just absolutely decrepit. Or just falls totally off. And then I think Jazz is the same way. And again, if Moore is similar to those, I think there's an avenue towards big league relevance for a understandable and respectable period of time.
Absolutely.
I respect I respect yours and Will's opinions though, because I could definitely see where SEMO could get kind of very, I don't want to use the word lazy, but I liked it when you said it.
There's going to be a lot of sombreros in his career too. He's going to be a fresh. Angels fans will end up being frustrated with him. Is like the best take I suppose I can have, and then they're going to love him too. Moving on to our next guy though, Dalton Rushing. Not a whole lot of opportunities for the guy on the Dodgers. Greg, I'm going to go straight over to you. Dalton Rushing, kind of where are we at on him right now? Where's the value?
I think it's a huge buying opportunity if you're in fantasy right now. He's really down because he's not playing. Like he graduated as a prospect last week, and he only has 52 at bats. Like 130 is when you normally graduate. So he graduated by service time, but he's not even close to his at bat limit. Out of all the hitting prospects we're going to talk about, other than Anthony, this is my favorite. I love Dalton Rushing. He is a phenomenal hitter. He barrels the ball really well. He knows how to use the whole field. He's a hitting machine. And if he ever gets a chance to get full-time reps, I don't think it's going to be with the Dodgers unless Smith goes down with an injury. I think he's gonna crush. I think he's gonna be awesome. I really like everything about him. I can't say enough good things.
I love it. I like Rushing a lot too. Drew, are we a trio of Rushing likers over here?
Absolutely. I have three things to say. First of all, catcher supremacy. Secondly, Greg took literally every note that I was going to take, and that makes me thrilled because it's good to be in lockstep with my boys. Third thing, just to echo something Greg said, if you are in fantasy, and let's just say this, I play a lot of fantasy baseball, and in any league where it's possible, and I can go out and acquire Dalton, I'm not going to be moving regular speed. I'm going to be moving quickly. Thank you. Y'all thought I was going to say rushing. I didn't, though.
I thought the key to Rushing was going to be outfield versatility, and they just haven't wanted to do that with him. They haven't wanted to do it with him.
And let me ask you this. How much do you think Andy Pages kind of being a solidified thing kind of put the kibosh on that?
Yeah, it definitely changes. It absolutely changes things, right? and they just have so many options out like everywhere, but out
the
there
same song and
too.
dance,
Like
man.
there just isn't. There is no spot. And you know, say Max Muncy wasn't killing it. Like, does Will Smith go back and play a little third? Say like Freddie, you know, like there were options for Rushing to get playing time, and none of them have gone his way whatsoever. He's quite literally just a backup catcher, and that's just what it is right now, right? Late game defense, stuff like that. Like, it's just not. It's
a
not
bummer.
what you want it to be, and I wonder I wonder how a team like the Dodgers is going to operate with a guy like this, because there is so much value. But is there more valuable? Is he more valuable to another organization now than your own, because he is in that backup catcher role? So I think he's almost an interesting name to watch. The deadline, I don't think teams move on from prospects that quickly. I wish they did, because it's more fun. I would love to see him moved at the deadline. I think there's a very, very low chance of that happening. So we're probably a couple years away from seeing Rushing get the chance to prove himself.
How many years in a row did we say the same thing about Miguel Vargas, though? Over and over and over. Michael Bush, over and over and over.
You're right. So we're 3 years away. Is really what we are. We're 3 years
See you in
away.
3 years, Dalt.
And the rushing numbers don't necessarily look amazing on paper, but I think they look pretty good under the hood. I mean, we've seen a good amount of red on the Savant page, and he's always been, you know, a pretty safe hitter in my eyes. But anything else on rushing? Or are we good to move on to the one and only Matt Shaw? Drew, let's go back to you. Matt Shaw has had a what's more than a cup of coffee? Two cups of coffee.
2 cups of coffee. Yeah.
He's
a thermos.
He's had about 2 cups of coffee, a large cup of coffee in the majors.
He's had a grande.
Yeah, there you go. Where are you at on our guy, Matty Shaw?
We talked about it the other day in the Dynasty team chat on the old P-Live Discord. How do you value Matt Shaw right now? Greg, you may have noticed I was quiet for that chat because I don't know the answer. And I couldn't think of a suitable joke. So in those instances, I don't say much. I don't know. This is not what you want to see for Matt Shaw, because all the things that buoyed the profile are not to be found when he gets to the major league level. Now, something to keep in mind. Just 23 years old. This is hardly the last we're going to see of Matt Shaw. I think that I saw something on the Twitter machine the other day where somebody said, you know, man, the Cubs picked the wrong third baseman, saying they'd rather have Cam Smith than Matt Shaw. I think that's still a bit premature. Not spitting on Smith and not defending Shaw necessarily, just saying this is all just premature to jump to such a conclusion. We've seen 200 plate appearances from Matt Shaw at the major league level, and the BABIP to go to BABIP here, 279. Which in his career in the minors, it was elevated by at least 50 points. So we know that he's playing cold to some extent. I still think that Shaw is probably a 260 hitter at the major league level. How those tools look, the power and speed show up, I'm a little more iffy on that nowadays. But we'll find out, I guess, as time goes on. I'm not completely done with Matt Shaw, but this has not been a good year.
I think those are all really good points. Greg, do you kind of side with Drew there?
I'm a little concerned, quite honestly. 2 reasons why. Matt Thompson brought this up in that chat that we were having is his approach is to right center, which is a good approach for a hitter, but that zaps all your power in the major leagues, especially at Wrigley. Like, Wrigley's a big ballpark. You need to be lifting and pulling if you want to hit a home run. And we saw Isaac Paredes not succeed at all in Wrigley last year when he got traded there. The other thing with Shaw is he's got one of the biggest leg kicks in the entire league. And that you have to have that. If you have a big leg kick like that, your timing has to be spot on. And if it's a little bit off, then you're going to struggle. You're not going to be able to have quality contact, consistent contact all the time. And I wonder if that sort of started something a little bit here. He obviously is playing against the best of the best now. But now he's been up here long enough and he's struggled long enough that it's starting to get into his head, I think, a little bit. And it would get into all of our heads, I think, too. So I think there's a whole bunch of things all wrapped into one that are working against him right now. And I wonder if he just maybe needs an off season to kind of take a deep breath and get to spring training and just focus on his game. I don't know. It's it's not working right now. He came back from the minors and looked actually really good, but he's kind of fallen back into where he was when he was sent down.
Yeah, the two big things that kind of stick out is the bat speed and the exit velocity. When you're kind of looking at these little bubbles over here, it's first percentile average exit velocity for a guy that, oh man, it should be the opposite, right? Like that's the last thing that I was necessarily expecting with Shaw, and it's 100% timing based. The quality of contact's so poor. I think we had this discussion on deck early on, is that I don't love a guy that swings a whole lot different than other people, or I guess like a weird swing. I don't love a weird swing in the year 2025. I think we've seen less and less guys have super odd stances. The big leg kick only works for the best of the best at this point, and rookies or prospects who have wonky hitting mechanics is just one of the scariest things to me. And so I've always been a little scared of Shaw, and he tried toning it down a little bit, and it still hasn't helped. So I think that was a really good observation, Greg. I've always just I don't love watching him swing the bat, if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
So yeah, but you don't want to kick the guy too much when he's down. I think that there's still plenty of value to be had in Matt Shaw, and this might even be a good buying window in fantasy. I don't really know. That's not quite my job.
The fact that you said that, Nate, implies that there is, because you've said it millions of times. You don't dive into fantasy as much as you should, but the fact that you identified a window where people could be down indicates that there is a buying window. So astute on your part.
Yeah, like he's not going to be a first percentile exit velocity guy. Like that's just not what it is, right? It's going to be a little bit better than it is. But moving on to our next guy, who it has been great for. So great. Jacob Misiorowski, guys, has been absolutely kind of lighting the baseball world on fire. I saw something about his card increasing, like his baseball card increasing 900% in value or something like that. I wasn't sure if this guy was going to be a starter a year ago, and now he is one of the most dominant pitchers in the big leagues. And we were all in the same boat, I'm sure. Drew, we'll start off with you. How fun has this been, and what are you thinking long term? Do we need to temper our expectations? What do you got?
Yeah. Dude, I wasn't sure he was going to be a starter two weeks ago. Yeah. I wasn't sure he was going to be a starter 2 months ago. Somewhere, Greg, we can hear our friend Eddie Almaguer just giggling and laughing, ha 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 ha, in the background. Eddie loved Misiorowski, kept telling us, "No, it's going to work. It's going to work. It's going to work." It's not going to work. It's not going to work. This guy's never going to. He's a reliever. He's a reliever. Well, Eddie's got the last laugh, at least for the first 2 weeks of his career, because, man, the string bean Misiorowski has absolutely done it. He's hucking the fastball. He's getting nearly 8 feet down the mound on extension. Everything you want to see from just a freak show, slender man looking pitcher, you are getting out of the Miz. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't critique him. I mean, like, the wildness is still there, but it's not nearly as bad as it was in the minors. So, I mean, pick all the nits you want, but the guy's 3-0, 19 strikeouts in 16 innings. I mean, I got nothing. Kid's killing it. And well done. Good for him. And I was absolutely wrong.
Greg, where are you at on The Miz?
Yeah, we were all wrong. We, as an industry, undervalued his talent. His talent is at the top of the scale. Like, he has all the skill of every number one pitcher we've seen, even comparing him to Skeens. Like, I think, yeah, he doesn't have the command. That's the one thing that's missing. But he gets the extension. That's a huge thing, right? He's throwing 102 with almost 8 feet of extension. So it's like 105. Like it is, we have not seen this. This is ridiculous. But also, even if he's not a starting pitcher, this is like the best closer in the league. Like this is that type of stuff. Like you can't touch him. If you were to try and have an at bat versus him right now, what would you do? What would you look for? What would you do?
Drew just gave us a good representation.
So sorry. Dude, an ad just popped up. Oh, scared me to death. Oh, sorry. Greg, what were you saying?
I was just saying,
that scared me to death. I'm so sorry.
I was just saying What type of an approach would you have against Jacob Mizorowski? What hope do you have of getting a solid hit?
It's a
How
look
much
that you
money
don't
do
see.
I have in my wallet?
How often
'Cause
do
if
you
I
see a guy throwing 102 with like one of the best cutters in the league and then one of the better sliders in the league? Not to mention the fastball might be the best in the league. Like it's a look you don't see with that kind of extension, that kind of height. Like you just don't see it, and not even out of relievers, you don't see it. So it's like it's so different that we almost should have known that the stuff could even tick up in the MLB based on I don't know. My theory is that for some of these wild guys, like the command can get better on the MLB mound because it's almost like a different mindset. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that in a sense, but
No, I like what you're trying to say here, Nate.
like the stakes rise. Like you can't walk 8 guys in an MLB outing. Like you just can't do that. Like you can get away with some of that stuff in the minor leagues and toy around with things or whatever. Like this is like the evolved version of Jacob Mizorowski because he has to be perfect or else he will be a reliever. Like he has to keep the walk rate low or it's gonna really hurt his career or whatnot. And he has risen to that occasion. I would say he's only 3 starts in. Don't get me wrong. But this is a great time to talk about how like the Brewers have like 3 of the best future closers in baseball. If Jacob Mizorowski is a closer on that team, and I think that is a really interesting thing. Yes, Drew.
Pre-heart attack just then, I was looking up Mason Miller's first couple of starts because I think that, as you were alluding to, Greg, that's kind of the track we're looking at here. And Mizorowski has thus far, I mean, just spanked what we saw from Mason Miller in his first couple of starts. So just again, not saying that this is a perfectly linear path, but if Mizorowski is to go to the bullpen, I mean, consider the excitement for Grant Taylor right now.
What if I give you another one? Matt
Go.
Brash. Outlier stuff.
Sure.
Outlier stuff, and it did not work out because just because the stuff was outlier with the spin and movement and whatnot paired with velocity, he didn't have the traits as far as like height, extension, those kind of things that just give you that extra leg up. So I do think he's a different build than those guys. It's such a fascinating actually topic to talk about, the guys who started out as starters to turn relievers. I might have to bank that one. We got one more guy, and that's Chase Burns, who Greg, you were just telling me, what was the stat line today for our buddy Burns?
He only got one out tonight in his start, and he gave up 5 earned runs and 7 runs total. It was pretty ugly.
So
I didn't watch any of it, but
yeah, no, I don't think any of us did. Where does that leave you, Drew, on Chase Burns? He has flashed really good stuff, but the results haven't been there the first two outings. It was out. His first start was okay. I'll give him that.
I was satisfied with his first start. I'll not pushing back because I just feel like I looked at it and saw a positive, and that may be just me trying to be an optimist versus you looking at it from a more critical lens. I feel like we saw it the same way, Nate, just knowing you and how you see the game. I was satisfied with the first start. I thought it was good. I was impressed. It's hard not to be like, well, that sucks from today's start. But that said, I don't feel any less confident that he's a very, very good big league prospect. And if there's any doubt whatsoever in anybody's mind in any fantasy leagues you're in, immediate go get.
I cannot imagine anyone would sell on Chase Burns right now. But man, I hope maybe I need
Never
to
say
join some
never
leagues.
because I've seen some stupid stuff in fantasy, but it's highly unlikely. You're right.
Craig, do you have any thoughts on this? Do you want me to give my quick thought that I told you? I'm going to go and look and see if he's tipping his pitches or if there's something on him. Because I think that with his quality of stuff, you just don't see guys get hit like that. And granted, there's some command stuff or whatnot, but I don't know.
yeah, that's possible. They maybe saw something in his first start that they just attacked it and it worked. So he's gonna have to turn the page on that one. His stuff is tremendous. It's right up there with any of the pitching prospects. He's got better command than Mizorowski. He just doesn't have that outlier release and extension that Mizorowski has. So that's one thing. That's one big difference. He also pitches in a very small baseball park, and he does give up some home runs. So that's one thing also playing against him. But I think he's going to be perfectly fine.
Yeah. Yeah. It is kind of interesting looking at a guy like Mizorowski and Burns, and there was a large gap within Prospects Live within the whole baseball industry on those two guys. One was, close to the number one prospect in baseball, Chase Burns, and Mizorowski, fell off top 100s in the last year, and just looking at just like straight up Fangraphs Stuff Plus, right? Like Mizorowski absolutely annihilates Chase Burns. And I think of Chase Burns as having the best stuff of anyone. So I do not think that this is the norm for Burns. Maybe this is the guy who got on the big league mound and struggled and got nervous or whatnot, and the lights were a little too bright for the first couple starts. But I do not think it's cause for concern by any means. But I don't know if, Drew, do you got anything else?
Yeah, I'm counting 36 pitches for Burns tonight, spread over 9 at-bats. That is a guy who's trying, but I mean, consider again, like you said, if the lights are too bright, it's only the New York Yankees and Boston Red Sox in your first 2 starts. Nothing big. I just put the human element back into it for a second and remind yourself that this is a very young man who, at this point last year, was being drafted and just finished playing at Wake Forest. Readjust, and I think you'll come to the conclusion that any panic is extremely premature. Shout out Ceddanne Rafaela for a 9-pitch at-bat versus Chase Burns that ended with a walk. I'm looking at the numbers from this, and it's just absolute lunacy. Chase Burns is a freak.
There's definitely a difference between Milwaukee and Boston in terms of atmosphere. I will give you that one, my friend. But that's going to do it for us talking MLB prospects. But we are going to be joined on the other side of this break with Greg in a guest What's on Your Mind segment that we're all looking forward to. So stick around for that, and we'll be right back.
I can't let her go.
All right, guys, and we are back from this break, and we're going to try and be joined by a very special guest here. We're going to call Rhys White, check in on him while he's camping. And, if you're listening to this, that means he picked up, or else we're going to cut this. So I'm going to call him right now.
Camping on the lam.
I don't even know if it's going to go through.
Sure it will. He has plenty of service.
It's not ringing. I mean, I can't hear it. Oh?
Pick up, Rhys.
Is this when I get fired?
That'd be a great episode.
What do you guys want?
Hey, Rhys. You're live. You're live on the On Deck podcast right now. We're just wondering what's on your mind.
What's on my mind? That's a good topic. Okay, do you guys think I was going to answer? And if so, I want to guess who thought I was going to answer, who didn't think I was going to answer.
Go.
I don't think any of us thought you were going to answer, for being honest.
Oh, well, okay, well, I hate you all. I'm just kidding.
Tell us how camping's going.
How's camping going? And also, we're getting you paid for this episode. You're welcome.
Thank you. Camping's been fantastic. I don't know who. Brandon thinks that I camp in an RV. I'm not /weenie, so I want him to know that. Also, I didn't appreciate your accusation that I'm glamping. I was sleeping on a foam pad that's like 1.5 inches thick because they're built tough. As you can hear, my girlfriend's laughing in the background. What's on my mind is I don't even know. You guys didn't even prepare me for this.
That's what's great about it.
It's more fun that
What do I
way.
want to complain about? Is a good question. But like how basically is the way that I just put on it. I complain. This is great podcasting. What's on my mind, Danielle? What am I complaining about? Oh, tipping. It's ridiculous, but I'm pro tipping. but I'm anti tipping on things that don't need to be tipped on. I also don't like it when businesses turn around the tablet and it's 20%.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's all that's been on my mind.
Can
You
Rhys
got
hear
nods
me?
all around for that.
Can Rhys hear me?
Rhys cannot hear you, Drew.
Oh, that's
Drew,
fine.
but what do you got to say, Drew? Parting words for Rhys.
That's fine. I was just going to tell him that the move there is custom tip 7 cents or
Drew
whatever
said
it is.
that the move is to do a custom tip option. I would go against that. I think that's how you get your food spit in. But you got nods all around for your tipping comments. So that was a great segment right there. Thank you so much.
No problem. Okay, I'll see you guys when you guys decide to call me on Thursday, whenever you record.
This won't be the
Sounds
last
good.
time.
See ya.
All right. Bye. Have fun.
On deck. Bye.
Bye. Oh my gosh, guys, we got him.
Wow. That was
What
fun.
a gentleman.
Next time I got to set that up better so he can actually hear you guys or whatnot. But I mean,
That's
the
fine.
people want the face of baseball media, even if it's just
The voice
of
of
baseball media. So,
Nate,
so
I have to really quickly touch on Rhys's What's on Your Mind. If it were a situation where someone's preparing food for me, then they get a tip. But if it's
agree.
something that doesn't need a tip, I don't mind putting no tip or turning it and just, okay, you're going to turn the tip to me, custom tip 0 and turning it back.
I struggle
Food is
with
a different thing though.
I struggle with like when they give me the paper receipt and trying to figure out. I feel like I always just round up to whatever I think because I never want to be the low guy, and sometimes quick math is hard. I know there's tip tricks and stuff like that. Move the decimal, multiply it by 2. You know, that's a lot of math sometimes. I don't know.
Sure.
Last night, okay, here was my thought last night. I got pizza in the late hours of the night. I was out with my buddies, and it's simply the guy just heated up the pizza in the microwave or whatever, and the options were 22, 25, and 30. And I custom tipped it. I know a chef made it or whatnot, and they put work into it, but I did not think that was. First of all, it was like $6 a slice pizza. Seattle, what are we doing? But that was where I was like, I'm rounding down to like 18, 20% here. I'm not doing the lowest options, 22%.
So, okay. What was your final bill here?
I got 3 slices of pizza, and it was like $19, $20 for 3 slices. So then I added $4 on, I think,
I was
something
about
like
to say
that.
$4 or $5 there is a 25% tip for your microwaving, sir.
Yeah.
I think that's perfectly generous.
Yeah.
Did he wait
I
on
felt
you? Did he
weird.
come to your table?
No, you literally just walk up and yeah.
I'm all for taking care of people. My late Uncle Mark said it very, very well. Drew, karma is a real thing. Treat people good. You always treat people good. But I think that tipping culture has just gotten to be such a sticky topic. Like, you can hardly talk about it even without people being like, oh, Drew's cheap. Oh, my gosh, he's so cheap. I'm not cheap. Like, if you're offering me a service and you're doing something for me, then absolutely I will tip you. It's not like Dwight Schrute where I'm like, oh, I will never tip for a job that I could do myself. I cut my own hair. I blah, 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 blah. It's not that. I just think that the dude last night, you custom tipping was 100% the right move.
Okay, and this isn't even what's on your mind topic, so I'll go faster. I used to be a kayak tour guide. I don't know if I've ever mentioned
You've
this
told
before.
me that. Yeah, you've told us.
I used to do kayak tours, and so you prepay for a tour, right? And then after the tour, like, we would never get tipped, so we would literally have to like be like, hey, just so you know, like, tips were not included. I always felt like the grimiest person ever doing that, but the majority of that job is tip based. So it was always like this struggle of like, wow, some nights I'll go home with like making 0 money on like a pretty big service, a 2-hour kayak tour on the water, sunset tour, stuff like that. But then I would have to like ask for tips. That was the most horrifying part of my life. That was the most uncomfortable I've ever been, was asking for tips.
I think the move there, Nate, would have been to build it into your kind of end of the evening speech.
I did. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. I bet
Yeah.
that worked a lot better too.
It did. Because I didn't make any money the first couple times. Then our boss was like, yeah, you got to ask him to tip you. But sorry, let's move on. Drew, how about you do what's on your mind first?
Yeah, I'll go quick. If you've been on Twitter in the last couple days, you'll see that and you follow me, what a cocky thing to say if you've just been on Twitter. Yeah, if you've been on Twitter and you follow me or anybody from Prospects Live for the most part, you'll have probably seen that I won some awards for my job. I was the proud recipient of, the newspaper that I worked for was the proud recipient of 2 first place Tennessee Press Awards. In the history of the newspaper, we had previously won 1 first place award for a team thing, something that multiple people worked on. The 2 awards were individual based, so I was very proud. Obviously, it's not just me. It is a team that goes into it, editing and checking and proofing and all these things that, just cross-checking, obviously, if I can use that phrase that we use in scouting. But very, very blessed and thankful and just proud, very proud. I said it kind of jokingly in our Dynasty group chat, but as much as the newspaper takes me from baseball and like prevents me from doing as much as I'd like to with baseball, I feel like they should be awarded sometimes. And that's a joke, but at the same time, it is nice to be recognized and to be honored for my hard work. And I don't like doing that. If I can be just very transparent with y'all, it feels weird. I don't like doing that.
Wow.
But
I'm gonna speak on behalf of the Prospects Live team here and say that you do need to be recognized because you're ultra talented, and I think your job makes you better at this part of your life as well.
Thanks. I feel uncomfy. Can we change the subject?
Can I just ask a question? Best humor column, what does that mean?
Okay.
Because if I knew you had a humor column, I would be subscribing to this newspaper. That's perfect for you.
Thanks. That's, again, we're getting too close into complimenting me, and that's making me uncomfortable. But okay, so if a best personal column would be like if I wrote a story about life, right? I wrote a personal column this year about how when I was a kid, snow days was about, like you play video games and you go out and snowball fight with my brothers. But now that I'm an adult, when we get snow in Tennessee, I want to order pizza from Pizza Hut. Don't ask. I want to watch college baseball, even though it is inevitably December or January and it is not in season. And I want to take a nap on the couch. That's the new snow day. So just more sentimental. So a humor column would be one that is based in humor. And the award winner was my coworkers at the newspaper. And I'm not sure that I've ever gotten this deep into my job, but essentially three of us full time there. They say to me all the time, they make fun of me for using my red pen when I'm editing things, which is industry standard to use a red pen. And it's industry standard to use a red pen. Either way, I found that they like to make fun of me. So the article was on National Proofreading Day about using my red pen and about common mistakes that people make with their grammar or with their spelling and how they can improve them. And the judges seemed to enjoy it. So it was nice. And I'm happy to have won.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys, for my What's on Your Mind, sorry if you saw any technical difficulties there on screen, good old Wi-Fi problems, but my What's on Your Mind was Rhys glamping. That's what I had written down, but we called Rhys. And guys, if I'm being honest, I didn't expect Rhys to answer, but I should have known he would. Drew, it sounded like you were confident that Rhys was going to answer the phone.
I'd have put it at like 75% confidence. I think the only thing that would have kept him off the phone, because he knew that we were recording, he automatically, he came on the line, what do you want? What do you guys want? He knew we were going to do it. It would have been a lack of service. And that's just, again, the commitment to the game by the face of baseball media. # no days off.
I guarantee he told his girlfriend, apologies in advance, my weird friends might call me. And that is just what it is, And
honestly, suitable. Every part of that is facts.
So Greg, I almost want to get your advice or your opinion here. When you saw the Rhys camping picture on the X of the face of baseball media, what were your initial thoughts? I'm going to pull it up.
Yeah, I got to pull this up as well. I want to get a good look.
We got to analyze what's going on here.
So I think I'm not a camper. So that's the first thing I'll say is I've been camping, but I'm not, I don't do that a lot. It looked like a very nicely set up campground. I mean, nice tent and a fire pit and everything that you want camping. There was no like vehicles around that I saw in that picture. Like he wasn't sleeping in a vehicle or an RV, like somebody said. So I think he's kind of in the middle. He's not roughing it. He's not like they brought food. I don't think they're hunting for their food. So I think he's okay. I'm not going to make fun of him for his setup.
And it looks like they're on the beach. So what I'm seeing here is probably a slightly off beach campground with beach access right by. Those are some of the best camping experiences or moments or whatnot. Those have been all of my favorites when I'm near a beach. So I actually think he's doing it right. And you can tell he's a pro from the bins that he brought with him. So this is clearly, out right outside of the car camping. The car's probably parked nearby, and he's got those big yellow bins filled with his necessities. This is a pro we're talking about here. And I like to make the joke that he's glamping just because I knew that would piss him off. Because, Rhys is a tough SLB, if I may. And it's a legit little campsite going on there. So I didn't have a whole lot for my What's on Your Mind, but I just kind of want to talk about Rhys because I think it's kind of fun talking about someone when they're not here.
Mm-hmm.
And, just poking slight little glamping jabs at our boy, Drew. But it is an interesting vibe. This might be the first episode we haven't had Rhys on. But man, did we brought in an absolute ringer to replace him. Let's just say that.
Without a doubt.
I mean, this is incredible. So Greg prepared something for his What's on Your Mind is what it sounds like. And
scared.
He has kept me and Drew in the dark on this. And I'm so excited to get to this. First of all, Greg, this has been awesome. Were you more excited for the What's on Your Mind than any other part of this podcast, though? Let's be honest here.
I mean, yeah.
I think everyone we've talked to who's listened to the pod or whatnot likes our What's on Your Mind way more than our baseball analysis, which is honestly a compliment. I don't know about you, Drew, but I like that people like our non-baseball talks more than our baseball talks.
Mallory loves it. I mean, we know that your family enjoy it the most. We know that Mallory likes it the most. Rhys, it's clearly his favorite part of the show. I mean, we enjoy it. It was one of the main goals of the show. So the fact that people enjoy it, as you said, Nate, it feels kind of like a pat on our backs because what we wanted to do is being done.
It's really hard to do something when there's no fun involved, and as much fun as baseball is, I love just talking to the guys too outside of baseball. So Greg, that was a long intro for your What's on Your Mind. So I'm going to pose the question, Mr. Hoogkamp, what's on your mind?
So Kyle was on the last episode, my Canadian cousin, and he did a fantastic job. He gave you guys the Canadian trivia, and I was super impressed with that. And he's raised the bar, guys. He has raised the bar for all guests coming onto this podcast from now on. So I've got to come with something. I had to prepare something, and I think this is going to be fun. Unfortunately for the listeners, you're going to have to watch this part on the YouTube because I'm going to share my screen. And it's not trivia, but I've got a little game we're going to play, and we're going to test your knowledge, guys. I'm going to see how you guys do.
I'm worried.
Okay? So let me just share my screen here.
I gotta go hat back like Ash Ketchum right here, or else I'm gonna fail.
Game time.
Okay, turn your face away from the screen for just a second. I'm just going to get set up here. All right, can you see my screen?
Perfect. Yes.
Oh, jeez.
I know what's going on.
I feel so, yeah, I fell right into this and didn't even see it coming.
Okay, so for those of you just listening, it's my title screen it's a slideshow. When they were young. Okay? So this is a game, and Nate and Drew are going to compete against each other. Do you guys have a pen and paper handy? I should have asked you that.
Of course, always.
I've got 15 slides, and you need to make a guess for each slide. Okay? There's an answer you're going to give for each slide, and we'll take it up at the end. Okay?
Let's do this.
So basically, what I've done is I've got pictures of major league players or baseball players when they were young, and you need to guess who the player is. Okay? So some of them are going to be easy, and we're going to get harder as we go. So there are 12 Major League players. All of these players either have been an All-Star or will be an All-Star this year. I think there are some that haven't been an All-Star yet, but they will be for sure this year.
Okay.
Then I've got 2 prospects in the minor leagues, and then I've got 1 draft guy at the end. Okay, so there's 15 total, and the best man will win.
And we're
Okay.
you're not telling. Are we doing answers as we're going, or at the very
No,
end?
you're going to write your answers down for each
Got it.
slide,
Okay.
and we'll take it up at the end.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
You guys
yes, sir.
ready?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay.
Greg, I love your idea. Thank you.
This is awesome.
I will tell you that my wife got the first 4 correct. So if you do not get the first 4 correct, my wife knows baseball pretty
Shout
well.
out Rachel, first of all. Shout out Rachel at home because she's clearly a ball knower. But go
My
ahead.
wife played fantasy baseball for a few years, so she knows her stuff.
I'm gonna run this
What
quiz
a
tomorrow.
All right. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's number 1. This one's a gimme, I think. Tell me when you're ready to move on.
How do you spell George Springer?
Oh, and the one thing I'm not going to do, guys, is give any hints because Kyle was far too generous to you guys in the last one, using sentences. He was a very nice Canadian on that episode. I'm not doing that. Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
That's number 1. Sorry, Nate, were you ready?
Oh yes, yes.
Okay. Here's number 2. Again, fairly easy, fairly straightforward. You guys should be able to get this pretty quick. Okay. Drew, you ready to move on?
Yes, sir.
Number 3. This is also an easy one. Young child.
Remind me if you said that these are they current players?
These are all current players. Yes. Sorry, I should have clarified that. They're all playing in the major
I think you
leagues
did.
right now.
I just think I didn't listen.
Okay, you guys ready for number 4?
Yes.
Okay. Now here's the thing. There may be other people in these pictures, and if you can guess the name of the other person in the picture, you'll get a bonus point. So there's a major league player in this picture, but there's another person in this picture that you might know who it is.
I got it.
Me too.
Okay, so I think you guys are doing good here. I have a really good feeling about this so far. Okay, ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay, this is where it gets a little tougher. This picture is taken in Old Yankee Stadium. Have you guys been to Old Yankee Stadium before?
No.
No, sir.
I went there for one game, and I saw A-Rod's 500th home run.
Oh.
Wow.
That was pretty awesome experience.
You've told me that story before, but it doesn't get any less impressive. Wow. Okay.
Okay, so if you want to write down a guess, if you're not quite sure who this is.
I'm stumped. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay, remember, these
Okay,
are all all-star players.
All stars. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Once you have
yeah,
a guess.
I have a guess.
Okay, we're going to move on. Young man in his living room with a plastic baseball bat, red cap backwards, red shirt tucked into his nice white and baby blue striped shorts.
Kid's swagged out of his brain, first of all. Let's call it what it is.
He was playing with his blocks before, and then he got the baseball bat out.
I'm looking deep in his eyes like they're trying to tell me something. I don't
This
know
is
why I'm
way harder
staring.
than I thought it
Yeah,
would be.
this is brutally
This is
hard.
so much harder than I thought.
Who are you, child?
All right. If you're not sure, throw a guess down. You never know if you might nail it.
Okay.
You good, Nate?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's this guy? Now, some of these young men are wearing like team paraphernalia here. Like this guy's got a Cubs hat on. They may or may not play for that team. So could throw you off. Not sure.
I'm good.
I'm all
Pretty
right.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, here's another one with two players here. One's a young man. And there's another guy in this picture too, who you might know.
I know the story, and I just don't know the player.
I feel fairly confident about that one.
I think I got one of them.
Got your guesses down? Okay. What number was that? Sorry, I lost count.
That was 8, sir.
Eight,
That was
okay.
8, Mr. Hoogkamp.
Okay, so number 9. Who's this guy? Look at that face. That face has not changed.
No, it hasn't.
It's that easy. I'm trying to block out the rest of them. Just look at his face.
I may or may not have guessed this player earlier in the game, Greg.
You can still change your vote for that guy.
I don't know who the other one. I don't know who the other kid is now.
I am so not doing well here.
I don't know, Nate. I'm trying to just put on a brave face, and my brave face looks like this. So
I couldn't even manage a guess on one of them.
Okay, you ready?
Okay,
to move
yeah,
on?
yeah, we'll try it.
Okay. Who's this young man? This is the youngest one we've seen so far. It looks like he's with his dad. He's got a little plastic foam bat. I'm going to say also this face has not changed much either. I said I wouldn't give hints, but this face has not changed much. All right, ready to move on, boys?
No, hang on. I've got to figure out a guess here.
Yeah, I got something. It's not right, but I got something.
Who are you, child?
Baby picture's so hard.
Who are you, baby child? Whatever.
Okay, we're going to move on. Who's this kid?
This one looks familiar. I'm just saying BS now. I don't know.
This one for me, out of all the ones I did, was the hardest one.
I have a really good lean on this one.
Looks like he's pitching, but maybe like everybody pitched when they were young. So
Those fighting
No,
necklaces, man.
I think that I think he's doing something a little bit more natural to him. Left infield type stuff.
interesting.
Looks like a handoff about to make a throw.
Nate, you got a guess?
Yeah, I got to guess.
Okay. What number are we on now?
12, sir.
This kid is looks like he's throwing a pitch. He's got a Pirates jersey on that says All-Star Game. Looks like he's got a pretty good arm.
Wow. Whiffing on this one.
This is tough, man.
I put a player down.
Yeah, I got someone too.
Okay. All right, here is the first prospect. So this is definitely a top 50 prospect right now.
Yeah.
So I narrowed it down for you. If you look at his hat, it might actually help you. I never noticed that before.
This is the first one I've been confident on.
Drew, you ready?
No, give me like 20 seconds, and then I'll put something better or worse.
You can tell we're getting more modern because he's got a lizard grip on his bat.
Mm-hmm. Gosh. Okay.
All right, the next one is also a prospect. Top, I would say definitely top 100, probably top 50. He's top 50 for me. Official top tier baseball. Todd M. Fine. You ever heard of that, Nate?
No. I've heard of top tier, I feel like, but I think maybe it's every state. I think Washington's a top tier. I have a guess though, by the way.
Okay.
Give me another second. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
This is great podcasting, but I love it. I love it so much.
Guys,
People got to watch this one.
Yeah, you got to watch this one because. Okay.
All right, last one, guys. This is a draft eligible player for this year's draft. And there's another player in there too. Bonus points could be had here. Are you ready to take it up?
Give me
Yeah.
2 seconds. I'm trying to go back and think if I can figure out another answer for one that I hate. Yeah, I got nothing. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, I'm going back to the start, boys. All right, shout out your answer for number one.
I didn't write one down. I could not figure it out, and it felt so obvious.
I said Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
right.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on the field with his dad in Stade Olympique in Montreal.
Does that mean Olympic Stadium?
Yes.
That's one of my saddest moments, is that I didn't have an answer for the first one.
All right, next one. Who's this?
Aaron Judge.
I
That is
wrote
Aaron-
Arson Judge.
Aaron Judge. Arson Judge will count. I will
Thank
count
you.
that.
Thank you.
Okay, Drew's got 2 and Nathan has 1. Who's this guy?
Shohei?
That is Shohei Ohtani. 3-2 Drew. All right, here's where things can happen. Which major league players in this picture?
Clayton Kershaw?
Kershaw.
Clayton Kershaw. Okay,
On
so
the
point
left.
for both of you. So that's 4 for Drew and 3 for Nate. Who's beside him?
Matthew
Matt
Stafford.
Stafford.
Matt Stafford. Bonus point for both of you. They grew up together. Looks like they're playing basketball here.
Kershaw
So
is
is it-
doing something really weird with his neck. It's like he's going or something. It's awesome.
Was it 6-5 Drew?
Yeah.
I have 5 for sure. 5 points for sure.
Drew's up 1.
Okay. We'll just go by that. Up 1. Okay.
All right.
What'd you guys have for guesses for this young man?
I have a question. Greg, you said these are all active players?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm boned because I wrote D. Gordon.
Not D. Gordon.
I put down Andrew McCutchen.
Not Andrew McCutchen. This is Ronald Acuna Jr.
Dadgummit. Okay. That's all right.
Drew's up 1.
Drew's up 1. Who's this guy? Did you think this was Schwarber, Drew?
I did, yeah. I thought it was Schwarber just because I saw like a burly frame, and it's not. That's not Schwarber. Schwarber's the leader.
Nate, who'd you have for this one?
I had Mason win. I don't know.
This is Jose Altuve.
Oh, little baby Altuve. He's so
He hasn't
cute.
grown a bit, guys.
Oh, he's so
That's
cute.
funny. This is so hard.
Okay, Drew's up 1. Who's this? So
PCA?
I said when
PCA.
it's PCA. It's
Okay.
PCA. Wearing the Cubs gear as a kid.
I knew PCA was going to beat one. Yeah.
Okay, Drew up 1. All right, here's some bonus point chances.
Nate, go ahead. I'm going to see what you've got.
I had Justin Turner was my only answer.
Greg,
Justin Turner.
that is Justin Turner with Brooks Lee.
That is Justin Turner with Matt Chapman.
Chapman went to, yeah. Wait. Okay, no. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I can't believe I got
Justin
Justin Turner.
Turner's age wrong. Okay.
Drew is still up 1.
Dadgummit. Kyle Schwarber.
Kyle Schwarber.
I did manage Kyle Schwarber.
That a boy.
Okay.
I wrote down Aaron Judge twice at first.
This is also Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
It's funny you
Okay.
say that because I have a duplicate guy as well.
Okay, Drew's up 1 still. Nate, I thought we were going to get this one.
I just went Mike Trout.
So here's the lean. I kept looking at the Bulldog in the background, trying to figure out if Dad was a player, and maybe that's a nod to Mississippi State, but I couldn't think of anything. But now that you're alluding to Nate, I think it's Cal Raleigh.
It's Cal Raleigh.
Dadgummit.
The baby
got that.
face was never going to happen for me.
Okay, Drew's still up 1. I think Drew got this one by the way he was talking about it. Who is this, Drew?
Yeah, I did not.
That is Gunnar Henderson, my friend.
That is Gunnar Henderson.
I wrote down Sean Murphy.
Greg,
so-
before you count me as a point for that, can I tell you something?
What?
In the top right corner of that picture, it says courtesy of Kirby Henderson. That gave it away.
Nate, what do you think about that?
I mean, I don't know.
Don't give me a point. Don't give me a point because I had to be honest. But when I saw it, I was like, no, it is Gunnar. It looks like him in the face.
You're still up 1, and
That's fair.
I don't know how I did on the rest of these. This next one I did not
Boy,
get.
I've got an answer on this one. I'll go first. I said, Greg, that's Mordecai Three Finger Brown.
I went Denzel Clark on this one. No, I went George Kirby.
George Kirby? Or did you have
This
a
is not
real
right.
guess?
There's a connection here.
I wrote Mordecai Three Finger Brown.
There is a connection here. Guys,
not-
he's wearing
it's
a
not him?
Pirates jersey. Whose dad played for the Pirates that has a Major League son right now? And is going to be an all-star for the first time. He's a rookie.
First time All-Star. Dad played
Oh,
for-
Jacob Wilson?
Jacob Wilson.
I got to be the Jacob Wilson guy. That's nuts.
That's a good one, Greg.
It's a really good pull. I like how you have like
There's nods spread throughout.
there's hints in there if you look close enough.
Sometimes
Okay.
it's even written there.
I think Nate got this one.
I did not. This could be where you come back, old buddy.
Bazana?
Travis Bazzana.
It is Bazana. Dadgummit.
He's got is that a wallaby on his hat?
Those are the Australian colors.
Yep, they are.
And it also looks just like him in the face now that I'm looking. Mhm.
Yeah.
Does.
Okay.
Are we tied then?
I
Todd.
believe we're tied, and I got this next one.
I did not, I don't think.
Who
This
is
is
it, Nate?
Ryan Sloan.
Ryan Sloan.
I did not get it.
Well, I don't think I got the next one, so maybe there's your.
I feel pretty confident I got the next one. I think I got both of the next one.
So do you want me to do
Yeah,
my
go
guess?
ahead. Go ahead.
I said Ethan and Jackson Holiday.
I did as
Ethan
well.
and Jackson Holiday.
Tie.
They don't look like them at all.
Ethan looks like Ethan for sure.
Really? I didn't.
Oh,
I
without a
didn't.
doubt.
I just guessed with the Cardinal shirt.
That was smart. That was a good play. Looking at Jackson, he does kind of have the cheek mask that Jackson Holiday has, like the kind of baby face.
Yeah.
So does that mean you guys tied?
We tied, Greg. We tied. What a boring result.
Well, guess what? I've got a tiebreaker.
Are you kidding me?
Who's that?
Oh my gosh. Okay, you have a tiebreaker.
Let me know when you have a guess. I mean, he looks like a pitcher.
Yep. His eyes are very familiar. He has striking eyes.
I mean, he's got an A1000 glove as a young kid.
I was about
That's
to say,
pretty awesome.
yeah,
Pretty blessed kid.
absolutely.
He's got to be young.
I'm going to say that this would have been taken in the mid-2000s. So I'm going to say he's looking like he's probably 8 to 10 years old, maybe 8 in the mid-2000s, which would put him about 28 now. 28, 25 to 30 for sure.
Okay.
Little League patch.
You guys both have a guess?
Absolutely not. Can I have another 30 seconds?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
See if you can try and figure out the
It's got to be a Dodger.
letters
That's
on the hat.
It's got to be a Dodger. I'm giving Drew hints.
You think you have it, Nate?
I think I do.
Really? Okay.
I almost wrote him down for another one.
He's got blonde hair. Okay, Drew. Need an answer.
Kenley Jansen.
Do you want mine?
Yeah.
That's Nate Rasmussen.
Don't worry, Drew. I got another.
You dirty dog. I sat there looking. I was like, I know this kid. I know this kid. I know this kid.
I
How do I
posted that
know
on
it?
Twitter.
Drew.
It's because I look at your face all the time.
Drew. This is the best 2 out of 3 tiebreaker. Don't worry.
Jeez. All right.
Here's the next one.
Well, okay. I think I know that one. Pretty sure.
You got a guess, Nate, for that one?
Yeah,
got
I
an
do.
Oakland A's hat on. Pretty swell looking shirt. Who's that, Drew?
That would be a young Drew Wheeler at the ballpark in Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
So Drew, you're telling me he asked you for a baby picture or a baseball picture and it didn't connect?
No, not at all. Like it's been, to be fair, I've had a lot going on since he's asked me that. Like I've had a full day of work and my brain is in a lot of places.
I
Didn't
almost
connect
guessed you
at
for
all.
the Cal Raleigh one because I was like, is he throwing a wrench in this?
So, well said.
Guys, I got more. Sorry, I got more.
Really? Oh, that's Greg for sure. I see
Your
it in his
last name
eyes and his
barely fits
nose.
on the back of the jersey.
Oh, I didn't even notice the name. Oh, I love it.
And I got one more.
It's got to be Rhys.
It's got to be Rhys.
That's Rhys.
I know that smile anywhere.
Mischievous look. Who put a bat in that kid's hands? Nothing's gonna come away. Nothing's gonna come away unbroken here.
That is such a good game. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that was awesome. I love that.
Way more difficult than you would think.
Mm-hmm. Hey, congrats, Nate. You won the game.
Hey, thanks, man. Finally. I did win the fast food draft, so things are really looking up for me right now. I'm starting to win again.
Yeah, that was a brutal draft for me. I do think I'm going to, later this week, I think I'm going to handily pull it back in my favor, but
Oh,
that remains to be
yeah.
seen.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap this thing up. Drew, why don't you let the people know where to find you?
Yes, if you're interested in following me between my podcasting and writing adventures, television adventures, and all the things that I'm up to, you may do so on the Twitter machine at drewisokay. You may do so on Instagram at drewisokay as well. And 1 second, I'm going to tell you what to follow on the Bluesky.
So hard to remember your name on there.
I know, dude, it's the worst. I can't keep up with it. It's the strangest thing. Where'd it go? Okay, follow me on Bluesky at GREGHOOGKAMP.bsky.social. That's me, totally Drew. You can follow me there and tune in to Path to the Show on Valley Sports Live and Stadium. And please consider a Prospects Live membership. As low as $5 a month gets you some of the best content in the world, and it would make us very, very happy.
That's so interesting you said that. You can actually find me on the Bally Sports Live app, where I can watch my best friends talk about baseball.
Matter of fact.
Right here. My username, for some reason, is lemur_641252.
What a great username.
Go find me over there on the Ball Sports Live app. I don't know. I think they gave it to me. Greg, thank you so much for joining us. This was an absolute blast and a long time in the making, and we will, I'm sure, have you back on very soon. But in the meantime, where can the people find you?
At Greg Hoogkamp, just very similar to Drew's Bluesky. No wonder I couldn't get that handle over there. Thanks for having me on, guys. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I love your podcast. I listen to it every time. So, yeah, I'm on the Dynasty podcast weekly. So we'll have an episode coming out Thursday. But just really enjoying working on Prospects Live right now. Everything we're doing is just a lot of fun and a lot of great content. So, yeah.
Any spoilers for this week's episode?
We're going to do the top performing prospects for the month of June.
Nice. Good to hear.
So we did that for May and April, and there's some interesting names that pop up. And just like using P Live Plus, you have those names that pop up. Same with this. So we'll highlight some guys that, yeah, we expected them. We knew they had a good month, but then there's some under the radar guys that you're like, wow, who's that guy? And then you got to go dig in and find out why you are not rostering him. So.
Absolutely. Well, I'm very quickly going to run through what's going on at Prospects Live, because normally that's Rhys's job, and I completely forgot that Rhys is skipping his court-mandated appearance this week. We should ask him on the phone what's going on at P Live. Max is doing his draft previews, and they're so informative, and I'm writing them all down on like this master sheet, so come our draft stream, I actually can try and figure out where teams are going to go before they actually go anywhere. Such a great read. The daily sheets for the minor leagues and major leagues are still going on every single day. Andrew Dahl, who is our newest employee, came out with a very, very good read. And I'm not even a card guy, but I was so intrigued. I've been following Dahl for a long time on X, and now he's over with us at Prospects Live. And the official title is Pitchers, Hitters, and PSA Grades. The PSA grading multiplier for MiLB prospect cards. Catchy name, catchy article, really good writer. Go check that out. Our buddy Greg released something, the top 150 Open Universe list. We talked about that a little bit today. Jake is still doing his conference previews. That has also been super helpful for me, getting to know some of these under-the-radar prospects. I believe he did the Atlantic 10 and the Coastal Athletic Association most recently. The 100th episode for the Dynasty Baseball Pickups, guys. Guys, that was one of my favorite listens ever, getting to hear all of my favorite people's voices. Did you guys have one guy who stood out to you on that podcast?
Smata, definitely Smata. I've been trying to get him on our podcast, and he keeps like shrugging me away. He was awesome. I loved it.
That's what I was going to say, because I just had never heard his voice before.
My favorite was anybody but Smata, and Smata knows what he's done. That's all I'll say.
But, I mean, congrats to Taylor and Kyle. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment, 100 episodes. That's insane. It's one of the few podcasts I actually do listen to, along with the Dynasty Pod. Doc Eisenhower is coming out with the Sunday Smoke still, kind of a two-parter these next 2 weeks, so I would highly recommend that. Drew, tell me about the interview you just did.
Well, I actually had the pleasure of sitting down with one of my favorite players in all of NCAA. This year, Jonathan Hogart. We cemented him as a Drew guy a couple of episodes ago. He is a tremendous young man who I think a lot of people are doubting him and doubting his draft stock. I cannot wait for him to prove everybody wrong and to become a perfectly cromulent, if not better, major leaguer. This is a driven young man that has a ton of talent and a ton of desire. If you've got some spare time, go learn about a guy that I've been championing all season, and I can't wait for you to get on the bandwagon with. I do have another interview coming up, Nate, and it's actually not a draft prospect. It is a minor leaguer. So it's going to be kind of interesting. Maybe
We'll have to plug that next episode then, huh?
yeah, maybe this is a good hint for you all at home.
He's bald?
No. He's got hair. It's nice hair.
And Brandon Hacker released a really fun article talking about who should be the next number one prospect in baseball. I talked to Gabe Grollo, a prepster out of Florida, the other day as well, and I think that's
was a
about
good
it that's
interview.
going on. But so many great things going on at Prospects Live right now, and we highly recommend you subscribe so you can get access to all of them. I know this is a free podcast, but there's so much good work that you can get for just $5 a month, which really is, a small amount for how much you get. So we really appreciate you subscribing, and we thank you so much for listening to this podcast. And we will see you on our 4th of July What's on Your Mind special coming later this week. All right. Goodbye.
Well, you used to be something